Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile, and today we're going to take a look at the Etymotic ER2XR. I want to thank the viewer and subscriber who sent them over for a review. Do greatly appreciate it. You know who you are. You rock. Alright, so the Etymotic ER2XR is a very unique IEM that may not be for everybody. But Etymotic is known for and kind of has a cult following amongst musicians and onstage performers. How does it play with somebody who has pleb ears like me? The ER2XR is a single dynamic driver IEM, which is a little bit different because most of the time Etymotic uses balanced armatures. It has a frequency response of 20 Hz to 16 kHz. Wait a minute, Dave, did you read that right? 16 kHz? Yes, actually I am. There are IEMs that don't go from 20 Hz to 20 kHz. The Etymotic ER2XR is one of them. It's 15 ohms, 96 decibels of sensitivity, and it touts isolation of outside noises from 35 to 42 decibels. It's a lot of isolation. So the ER2XR has a very unspectacular unboxing experience. The nicest thing about it is you do get this little carrying pouch. It says Etymotic Research on it. Has a nice pouch for your area for your IEMs, and it has a little pocket for your tips and all that kind of stuff. You get a couple different sets of tips. You get 2 sets of triple flange. You get these larger ones, and then you get the ones that I have currently on, which are a little bit smaller. And then you get these very oddball, strange foams, which have this plastic tube that go in the middle, and they're kind of stiff and they're a little bit on the scruffy, scratchy side when they're in your ears, and they expand really large. I didn't find them to be as comfortable. When I first got them, I used the foams, but then as time went along, my ears started to hurt, and so I transitioned to the silicones, and I actually end up liking the silicones better, sonically and comfort-wise. Sonically, the foams will make things a little bit warmer, a little bit more thick and robust, and you get a little bit better isolation of outside noises, but not by much. So I really prefer the silicones. I find that they just slip into your ears a lot easier and come out, and you don't have the ear fatigue as much. At least I didn't. Speaking of, this cable is a MMCX connection, so you can disconnect it. It is a proprietary connector for MMCX, and so you can't just pop on any MMCX connection. They are a little finicky on how they connect. There's a little clip and they go into place, but once they're in there, they just stay in place. You have to look at the cable very closely to determine if it's L and R. There's a little bit of a letter, no coloring whatsoever. Insert them, you just kind of pull on your ear and you follow your ear canal, push them in until you can't push them in any farther. And they just disappear. I have no problems with comfort with them. I never completely forget that they're in my ears though. And isolation of outside noises is legit. These are 35, 42 decibels of sensitivity. You can barely hear anything around you. I didn't get to take a trip on a loud piece of transportation like an airplane or a bus or a train or anything like that. But I did walk around the neighborhood and had some vehicles drive past me that were quite loud, and I could barely hear them. These things are incredible in isolation. I do find that the comfort is very good. The cable is acceptable. It's 4 foot long, defaults into a 90 degree 3.5 millimeter with a step down, and I have absolutely no problems connecting this to any device just because of the way that the angles fit, and they sit in my ears and just disappear. All right, how do they sound? The ER2XR really took me by surprise. I was thinking that they were going to be a very neutral, somewhat kind of bright, maybe some harshness and just glariness and not have a whole lot of bass to them. I honestly had no clue what the sound signature of the ER2XR was going to be. And when they arrived and I got them situated in my ears and I started listening, I realized that these are very pleasant sounding IEM. I really do enjoy the sound signature of the ER2XR. They're very similar to a Massdrop SSR or a Tin Hi-Fi T3 in that they have somewhat forward mids, but they have some other differences, which is nice. So the bass on the ER2XR is slightly elevated, and you get a nice sub bass, you get some nice punch and some rumble to it. It's not overpowering, it's not domineering, and it's not always calling upon for your attention, but it does its job and where it should be. And it's a very punchy and very clean, clear, and very tonally correct sounding bass to my ears. I really enjoy the bass on the Etymotic ER2XR. It just sounds correct and natural. Has very good details, and all the way through the bass, it's got a nice body to it, and just I really like the punchiness of the bass when it's called upon. The mids of the ER2XR are not quite as forward as they are on the Massdrop SSR or even a Tin Hi-Fi T3, but they are elevated and they have a nice fullness to them, and bodiness to them, and the tone and timbre in the mids is just spot on. These things sound so realistic and so natural, so clean, so clear that it's like everything is there. It's like you're in there in life. It's just, oh, I just love it to death. The mids on the ER2XR just, perfection in my opinion. They are just so smooth, so clean, and just close, but yet not not intruding. There's a very pleasing sounding mids. The treble does kind of start rolling off around 10K or so, and it has a nice control to it, and very good clean and clear clarity in the treble. But it does lack just a smidge of energy and sparkle and shimmer at times. Sometimes I wish it had just a little bit more, especially in the top end. But for the most part, I really enjoy the treble. And if you're treble sensitive, the ER2XR is a very pleasing sound that does not force treble on you. And the ER2XR never goes into harsh mode, never goes into sibilance mode, never goes into a brightness. It is just very well controlled. I really do enjoy the Etymotic ER2XR's treble. And then Soundstage. If you like a big soundstage, you can forget about the ER2XR. But if you don't mind an intimate soundstage, a smaller soundstage, but one that has very good depth, very good layering, imaging, and very excellent way of presenting details in a small space, then the ER2XR is your IEM. I really enjoy the soundstage on it, and the width of it doesn't bother me too bad. Every now and then it'll sound a little bit cramped and you kind of wish I had a little bit more, but it does such a good job with depth, layering, and positional cues that I can kind of dismiss the width of it. Plus, I'm not a huge fan of wide sound stages anyways, so I really do enjoy the way that things travel across and that they are presented with depth and layering, and you can get a real good placement of things. It does a good job with isolating and separating out instruments also. But the thing that really stands out to me about the ER2XR is the tonality and the timbre. It's so spot on. Everything just sounds lifelike and realistic. And it just does a really good job of splitting out and being able to determine what the characteristics are of each and every instrument. And some instruments that are a little bit harder to determine at times are extremely easy to pick out on the ER2XR. And I really do enjoy these a whole lot. When comparing to the SSR is a little bit on the brighter side, does have that wider soundstage, and will sound a little bit more easily to isolate and separate out instruments at times. But I find that the tone and tonality of the ER2XR is actually a little bit more realistic sounding. And then comparing to the T3 has the wider stage, so it's a little bit better in depth and layering. And but overall, the ER2XR just blows my mind. I really do enjoy it completely, and I think everybody should try one just so that they can get the experience and understand about tone and timbre. These things are exceptional, and I understand the fit isn't for everybody, but if you can get a pair of these and you can listen to the tone and timbre of an instrument. These are incredible. I truly recommend them. They play on everything that I have. They play very well on the Next Drive Spectra X. I really do enjoy it on that. That is my favorite pairing coming out of my Samsung Note 10 Plus. And then also I really enjoy them on my little Sony NWA105 Walkman. Both of those are my favorite devices to pair with the Etymotic ER2XR. Played well on desktop also, didn't have any problems with it being powered by any device. But I found that they paired the best with the Next Drive Spectra X and the Sony NWA105 Walkman. Etymotic ER2XR. I was skeptical, but once I gave them time, and once I truly started listening, I fell in love with them. And it came to the point of I had to purchase them from the gentleman that sent them in for a review. So I do greatly appreciate you selling them to me, especially at the spectacular price that you gave me. So the Etymotic ER2XR. I love these things. And now my T3 and my SSRs have competition. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen is a subscription link, notification bell. If you haven't already, please check those off, and then don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Check out the links down below for where you can purchase the ER2XR, and for how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel, music playlists, all kinds of good stuff. Check out those links down below. This has been Dave, the Honest Audiophile, and I'll catch you next time.